It seems like the Saudi Arabia shows that WWE puts on are always the most difficult to try to predict. Because we have seen a lot of wild and wacky and crazy stuff happen at some of these Saudi shows in the past. And this year doesn't really feel all that different compared to some of the other Saudi shows in the past. And obviously, with the outside stuff happening in the political world, which I'm not going to tackle because I stay out of politics, and quite frankly, I'm not qualified enough to talk about what's going on in the world. You're here because Night of Champions is this Saturday, and you know what that means? It's time for yet another PLE preview. And we're going to talk about the show that I just mentioned, Night of Champions. So the way these work, we're going to go through the match card, give my thoughts and opinions, who I think's going to win, who I think's going to lose, where the story could go from there. Before we move on to the predictions, I want to say that if you are a WWE fan, consider subscribing to this YouTube channel. That's all we post is WWE related content. So if you are a WWE fan, again, consider subscribing. It's free. You can always change your mind later. And we are going to start off with the match that I am the most excited to see, and that is John Cena taking on CM Punk for the Undisputed Championship. I am the most excited for this match simply because it's John Cena and CM Punk once again. Those two having a match in 2025 would be simply enough to satisfy the WWE fan. But you add on the fact that it is for the Undisputed Championship that has me even more excited. And while I don't think CM Punk is going to win, I think John Cena is going to win simply because I think John Cena holds this Undisputed Championship until he is good and done and we are at the end of his retirement tour. That is at least what I see happening with the rest of the John Cena retirement tour. But that doesn't change the fact that we are getting one of the most popular feuds in WWE history. A feud that at the time, when the rest of the WWE product was not good at all, this feud saved wrestling for a lot of fans, which is kind of ironic because John Cena is back trying to ruin wrestling. And there's a weird feeling with this John Cena right now because what felt like a done and boring heel run is starting to get exciting once again. And it all starts with the pipe bomb that he cut on Friday Night SmackDown. And CM Punk has a tendency to bring out the best in these feuds. We saw it with Drew McIntyre, we saw it with Seth Rollins, and we're seeing it with John Cena. This current version of heel John Cena is what we should be seeing from here on out. Away from whatever the hell The Rock is doing, far, far, far away from Travis Scott. This is the John Cena heel run that we were wanting, and this is the John Cena heel run that we should be getting from here on out. And I did just mention Seth Rollins, and I do think that there is a possibility that we see a Seth Rollins cash-in, or possibly a failed cash-in, and why he fails would be his old nemesis, CM Punk. And I think that is the most likely option, simply because I think it keeps the fire hot for Seth Rollins and CM Punk, which I don't necessarily think it needs, but that also does possibly open up the door for possibly a rematch between John Cena and CM Punk, which I think everyone would be a fan of. So I do have John Cena winning and retaining, and I do think that there is a very good possibility that we see Seth Rollins during this match at some point. Moving right along to one of the more pleasant surprises on this card, Sami Zayn taking on Karrion Kross. That is right, Karrion Kross officially has a match on a premium live event. And this is such a big deal because it's been such a long time since we've gotten a Karrion Kross match on WWE TV, period. So the fact that we're getting a match of his on a premium live event is a big, big deal. A guy that has been rising and rising and rising in popularity for quite some time now is finally getting another moment. And maybe this is his big moment, and maybe this is where WWE actually starts using Karrion Kross. So while it is a fantastic thing that Karrion Kross is getting a match on a PLE, the unfortunate part in all of this for Karrion Kross is he's going up against Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn is incredibly, incredibly popular in Saudi Arabia. So because of that, I think Sami Zayn is going to win and defeat Karrion Kross at Night of Champions. Again, we're getting a Karrion Kross match, which is great. However, the fact that they have him going up against someone who is almost certainly not going to lose in Saudi Arabia is kind of a win-lose situation. So again, it's great that Karrion Kross is back on TV and is going to get a match on a PLE. The unfortunate part is I don't see Sami Zayn losing in Saudi Arabia. That's why I have him winning against Karrion Kross at Night of Champions. Up next, we have Rhea Ripley taking on Raquel Rodriguez in a street fight. And I'm actually very excited for this match. We obviously know that there is a lot of history between both Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez. And I feel like these two have really good chemistry together when it comes to in-ring performance. So I'm excited to see what these two can do considering the fact that it's a street fight. And I like the fact that it is a street fight between these two because Raquel Rodriguez feels like the only women's superstar on the main roster that can go toe to toe and match Rhea Ripley physically. So I'm excited to see what these two can do in a street fight environment. Now, with this match involving someone in the Judgment Day, you know there's going to be shenanigans because that always happens in a Judgment Day match. And that shenanigans, I think, is going to come from Roxanne Perez. Obviously, the injury to Liv Morgan has really changed a lot of stuff involving the Judgment Day. And it would not surprise me at all if we get a repeat of the storyline that we got involving Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, where Liv Morgan kind of came in when Rhea Ripley was injured, weaseled her way into the Judgment Day, and eventually kicked Rhea Ripley out. I really do think that we could see something very similar to that story, but this time it's Liv Morgan getting pushed out and Roxanne Perez moving in. And while that is still yet to be determined, I still think that we're going to see Roxanne Perez throughout this match. Whether it's going to end up helping or not is obviously still yet to be determined because the match hasn't happened yet, obviously. So I do think that we're going to get Roxanne Perez involved in this match at some point. But I just don't think it's going to matter because Rhea Ripley is simply just so damn over right now with the fans. I don't see her losing on a PLE anytime soon. So, because Rhea Ripley is at the point of her career that she is at the tippy top of the mountain, I don't see her losing this match. I think she defeats Raquel Rodriguez at Night of Champions. Moving on to Solo Sikoa taking on Jacob Fatu for the United States Championship. And I'm really excited that we finally are going to get this match because it felt like they were building the Jacob Fatu face turn for such a long time, and it just feels good that we're finally getting that match between these two. I think it's a good opportunity for both Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. Obviously, we know how good Jacob Fatu is, and we know how good Solo Sikoa can be. I think a lot of people have forgotten just how good he can be. So I think this is a big opportunity for the both of them to show what they got going up against each other. Now, considering that this is part of the bloodline, I fully anticipate that there are going to be a lot of shenanigans in this match because that's what happens in a bloodline match. And that interference could come from a lot of different people. We obviously are probably going to get JC Mateo at some point in this match. We could possibly get a return of Tongaloa and Tama Tonga, or we could get the debut of Hikaloa. I think a lot of people are expecting Hikaloa to join this story and join the main roster any time now, so I think this show could be the right opportunity for it. Now, the big question is, if these guys do return and if Hikaloa does debut, where do they fall in line with this? Do Tama Tonga and Tongaloa end up swapping sides and joining Jacob Fatu, leaving Hikaloa to go with Solo? Or do we think Tama Tonga and Tongaloa stay with Solo Sikoa and Hikaloa goes with Jacob Fatu? I think both options are very much on the table, and I think both are actually pretty likely. Because while Jacob Fatu doesn't necessarily need a group around him, I think it could be kind of interesting if there is. Now, as for who I have winning, I think it's going to be Jacob winning and retaining. I think he's just so hot right now. I don't think he loses this title anytime soon. That being said, with all the shenanigans that could happen throughout the course of this match, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Solo ended up winning. But after a lot of debating and a lot of going back and forth, I ended up settling on Jacob Fatu winning and retaining his United States Championship against Solo Sikoa at Night of Champions. And that leaves us with the finals for both the Queen of the Ring and King of the Ring. And we're going to start off with the Queen of the Ring finals between Jade Cargill and Asuka. And this match has me really interested because Jade Cargill feels like she's been the odds-on favorite to win Queen of the Ring since this tournament started. But since Asuka has made her return, she has been starting to feel like the Asuka of old. Asuka is starting to feel like a legit threat once again, which is something that was not there when she was part of Damage Control and in the tag team division. The Asuka that we're getting now is reminding a lot of people of the Asuka that we got in NXT Black and Gold. So while it does feel good that Asuka is feeling like a legit threat again, Jade Cargill just feels inevitable to win this year's Queen of the Ring. I think this is going to be Jade Cargill's really big moment, considering she hasn't won a Royal Rumble yet, considering she hasn't won Money in the Bank yet. Since this tournament started, it has felt like it is going to be Jade Cargill to win this year's Queen of the Ring since the very beginning. So given everything that you have Jade Cargill, who is the odds-on favorite to win this tournament. You have Asuka, who is feeling like the old Asuka again, which is such a damn good feeling. I think the match should be very good and very entertaining. And I think we could get a lot of back and forth because obviously they're trying to build Asuka back into the legit threat that we know Asuka can be. And a loss to Jade Cargill doesn't hurt her at all because we know that Jade Cargill has felt like she was going to win this thing from the very start. So while I love everything that Asuka is doing right now, I don't think it's going to be enough. Jade Cargill just feels inevitable to win this year's Queen of the Ring, and that's why I have her beating Asuka this year. Finally, we end with the King of the Ring final between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, a classic and timeless story of mentor versus student. A story that has been told time and time again, not just in the world of WWE, but in pop culture itself. And even though it is one of the most relied on storylines to use, it seems to work every time, and I think it's going to work here too. Ever since Cody Rhodes made his return back to the WWE, we have been waiting for these two to have a match together. And when Cody Rhodes was champion, let's not forget the amount of teases that we got between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, where every time those two were together, Randy Orton had his eyes locked on that Undisputed Championship. So I love the story that they have told between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes up to this point, and this match should be so damn good. And I would love to see more between the two. I don't know how we necessarily get there, but I would love to see more between these two. And if you have watched my videos before in the past, you know that Randy Orton is my all-time favorite, so it hurts me to say this, but I think Cody Rhodes is going to get the win, simply because I think he has his eyes set on a rematch with John Cena. That is where I think this story goes from here. I think it is almost inevitable that we're going to get a rematch at some point between Cena and Cody. So while I would love to see Randy Orton win and become King of the Ring, I ultimately think the student is going to beat the mentor, and I think Cody Rhodes is going to be your new King of the Ring. So this is where I want to hear from you guys. What did you think of my predictions? Do you agree with them? Do you not agree with them? Let me know why you agree or disagree. And also, let me know what you think about Night of Champions this year. Because again, there is a lot going into this year's show, and a lot of it doesn't even have to do with WWE at all. Again, I'm not going to get political. It is way above my head to talk about politics in any capacity. I stay out of politics completely, so I'm not going to cover the matter at all. But I am just going to say one thing. If they are going to go ahead with this show in Saudi Arabia, which it sounds like they are, if there is an ounce of danger involving any of the superstars, any of the crew from WWE, and this show was not pulled, that is going to look very, very bad for TKO. I hope it doesn't get to that point, and I hope that everything goes smoothly and everyone comes back safe and sound. It's a scary world that we live in, and that's just the unfortunate truth of all of it. So, that's the only thing that I'm going to say about everything going on outside of Night of Champions. And going back to what we talk about best here on this channel, and that's obviously wrestling, again, let me know what you think about my predictions down below in the comments. And while you're down there, swing by the description and click the Linktree link. It is the only link in bio for a reason, and that is because it'll take you to all of the social medias for this channel. And I do suggest going and checking out our X page. Besides YouTube, I am most active over on X. We do updates for Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, and the PLEs. And above all else, I want the X page to be a place for wrestling fans to talk about wrestling, especially if you're like me and you don't have a lot of people to talk to about wrestling. So if you are like me and you're looking for a group of wrestling fans to talk about wrestling with, consider swinging by Night of Champions this Saturday, the upcoming episode of Friday Night SmackDown, or possibly one of the episodes of Monday Night Raw in the future. I encourage you to join in on the conversations that take place throughout the course of the shows, and you can decide whether it is for you or not. So with all that said and done, that is going to do it for this video here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button. If you really enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button. Both are free and both really help out the channel a lot. And if you have made it to this point of the video, I want to say thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy day to watch these videos here. They really, really mean the absolute world to me. And after taking last week off, it really reminded me just how much I miss making videos and just talking about wrestling. As always, stay tuned for more WWE content coming in the future. We'll see you next time.